EnterTalk Radio. You're in to all things music.
Welcome to Sharpen the Axe. Explore the bleeding edge of guitar and bass gear. Discover a sound uniquely your own and cut through the noise. With your hosts, Eric Lucero and Paul Berezetsky.
Hey guys, this is Eric Lucero.
And Paul Berezetsky.
And welcome to another episode of Sharpen the Axe on EnterTalk Radio, powered by Pitbull Audio. How you been, Paul?
I've been good. As you can see, we're in our brand new studio.
I walked into the building where we filmed this, went into our usual place, and there was no one there.
He's like, guys.
Without warning.
Guys.
I went outside and came back in, and, well, here we are in our new blue room.
Blue room? We got a little...
black and blue. Yeah, it's a new setup. Another great place for us to get loud in here.
And every time you come here, man, I fall in love, and then you take all these beautiful things away, and I don't know if I like this job anymore.
Yeah, it's what I do. I bleed hearts and bleed wallets as it is with wonderful hand-carved instruments. But of course, you would be paying for amazing craftsmanship, quality construction, and awesome parts and amazing playability, which is what you get with these guys right here, Prisma guitars. I almost knocked over my little bongo here. Yeah. But Prisma Guitars is the product of Nick Pourfard. He's actually originally from San Diego, I believe, or Encinitas, maybe north part of the county, now based in San Francisco. These are premium, high-quality instruments built out of recycled skateboard decks. In this case, the tops are skateboard, but these are each is unique, each is one of a kind, and it is just awesome players' instruments. You know, you buy this, you don't need to modify it. It comes with just everything you'd really want in a rad caliber player instrument. We have three with us today. I got in my arms right here the Toledo. He has the Duke, and behind Paul right there is the Syndicate.
Nice, good names.
Right? Yeah, really awesome model names. And also, along with the Prismas we got today, we are also, just for a little bit of tonal variation, we got two pedals with us as well. We got the Magnifica Deluxe by Fox Pedal and the Galileo from Catalan Bread. So you can have a little bit of gain and some reverb. Just real quick before we dive deep into these amazing guitars, the Magnifica Deluxe is like having two of the Fox Pedal Magnifica spring reverbs in one. Each of the two reverbs has reverb, which is like the mix control, feedback, which how much it dwells, how long it dwells, and tone control, so you can have a damper, make it brighter or darker. And reverb 1 cascades into reverb 2 when we got them stacked. I have set reverb 1 here for a shorter, brighter tuned, really bright tuned sort of reverb. And number 2 is I'm going to actually exaggerate a little more, a really deep, darker reverb. And there's actually some internal pots as well, so you can make, say, one a shorter reverb when it caps off, and the second one you can do oscillating infinite reverb. But I set it with the default that it ships with. And the Galileo is meant to be a Rangemaster treble booster into a Vox AC30 circuit. So it's bride-made in a box, which, as you were commenting before the show, it's kind of perfect. The Galileo and the Magnifica are just fantastic together. So let's, real quick, that's our dry tone here.
And then you got P90s in there?
No, well, I guess before we dive into playing, I should give these guitars their justice and explain them. So in my arms right here is the Toledo, which is a rather familiar shape, but much bigger dimensions. It is, this is a alder body. I have to go to my notes here now. The Toledo here is an alder body with a skateboard top. It's got a Mastery vibrato and tailpiece, 25.5-inch scale with a 12-inch radius. The neck shape is C. It's Closer to a Gibson, I'd say, than a Fender C. Our tech at Pitbull Audio, Sean, was noticing that as well. It's a maple neck on this one, rosewood fretboard, it just volume, tone, three-way switch, and these pickups are actually David Allen humbuckers. These are Alley Cats. They're like sort of 1957 PAF influenced Alnico 2 magnets. If this is
David Allen makes great stuff.
He does, yeah. Fantastic pickups. I'm really glad to see him coming in such quality instruments, well built. And we got a sort of like a off-white cream back on this one. And also, just I thought a cool feature, the skateboard deck inlay, or I guess you call it inlay, on the Prisma headstock there. I always thought was pretty neat. And in your arms right there is the Duke. That has a mahogany back, a skateboard top, mastery bridge, volume tone, three-way switch. It is a mahogany neck with a rosewood fretboard. And it's David Allen's in there as well, and those are the P90s. I believe they're called the Buck 90s. Both the Toledo and Duke here. That's serial number 2 on the Duke, and I believe this is serial number, well, here we are, number 6. And both of these are $3,175 available at Pitbull Audio.
Love the color on this top.
Right, yeah. It's that's one of the cool features, of course, of having these recycled skateboard tops, which is rad that there is some recycling going into these awesome instruments. But that means that every top is going to be unique. You're never going to get 2 that are the same.
So this was one board?
I believe it was 2. I think they take.
They take like a top and bottom.
Yeah. I mean, we're going to get into it when we talk to Nick later, but I believe that they have to stack them and layer them in a certain way for it to work. And as you can tell on that one, a little easier than, well, right here too. You can tell it used to be a skateboard because that's where the trucks used to bolt on. So there, where those 4 holes are filled in with mother of pearl inlays there. Yeah, which is pretty neat and works perfectly. And if you could hand me the Syndicate there, I'll show it off. Here we are, the double cutaway Syndicate here. It is an alder back, recycled skateboard top. These are McNelly P90s, stout tail bridge right here, volume tone, three-way switch, and maple neck and fretboard on this. And this one's been pretty popular. It's a really, really cool dark blues and greens here with black stains on this skateboard top, and they matched it with a kind of Sonic or, Sonic closer than Pelham Blues sort of back. And this is serial number 4 of the Syndicates, but been rather popular.
Cool body shape. Is that lower horn a little bit longer than the top? Can't tell from here.
Maybe just a touch. But yeah, it's like just slightly offset sort of shape, so it's kind of a almost like a false. God, what's the word I'm trying to think of? Well, I just blanked out. Well, but almost symmetrical, like almost just slightly asymmetrical. But they are awesome instruments, and with like I mentioned, I think a dozen times already by this point, just quality hardware, quality pickups. Oh, and all of them have Emerson Electronics harnesses and guts.
And the really cool thing I like about the collar combos on them is I like cool bright colors, but when a whole guitar is one color like that, sometimes it seems a little too flashy or something and too prissy.
Yeah, so like some of the stuff like, say, Kramer built in the 80s or some of those Ibanez gems that were just neon in insane shades as
But this kind of like play of natural wood and some grays and then just bright pops of orange and red and green and blue is just fantastic.
And I like say on this one, the way the blue and orange fade into each other with just a little layer of black. It is such neat figuring.
Yeah.
And a lot of skateboards tend to be made from maple, I believe, as it is.
Okay.
So sometimes I'm sure you can get just a little bit of cool maple figuring that will make each have its own signature in terms of looks.
And in like 40 years, when this thing is destroyed and not playable anymore, you could put some wheels on it. And
and just ride away. Yeah.
Make it back into a skateboard.
Totally. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. I mean, truck holes are already drilled, right? Why don't we see how these sound? So I have the PAFs in mind. Didn't mean to interrupt the jam here, but let's add a little bit of dimension and throw in some of this Magnifica on top. I'm going to go with the Reverb 1, which is the brighter, shorter dwell one I have set. Let's see how those P90s sound with it. Nice. So those are really warm but punchy.
Yeah, warm.
Well, I mean, in general, P90s tend to be rather punchy, but those David Allens are just superb sounding.
Yeah, very transparent, very clear, very crispy.
And you can still get some bark out of them. And were you on the neck pickup that
I was
entire
on the,
time? Sounded
yeah, I was
like
on
it.
the neck.
Nice. So let's. Nice. So let's throw in, just because I myself am a P90s user and like some good hard-driven distortion on them. Let's take out the reverb for a second and throw in the Galileo on yours.
On mine?
Yeah. Nice.
Pretty raunchy.
So yeah, and it's I've noticed with these that they are very articulate, just clear guitars, clear sound to them. They're just gorgeous sounding all around. Oh, let's see, do I have anything prepared? Turn that down.
This game doesn't seem to be adding a whole ton of.
It's as it goes up, but also it's also very connected to the tone because
Right.
Again, this is supposed to be imitating a treble booster, which has a little bit of drive power on its own into a Vox preamp. I don't know exactly how they designed that Vox side of it into here. You know, how much of it's like a top boost channel or where they would set the tone. But one thing we noticed about this in the store when we messed around with it is how much treble this thing has. So I mean, like even on a neck pickup, you can get some really sharp attack out of this if you wanted to. Well, yeah, it's like I said, that thing just bites.
So the gain seems to kind of add some bite, but not necessarily saturation.
Yeah, I mean, mostly the bites, I would say, in the tone control, which is so much treble, but I mean, we turn it down.
Like with the gain all the way down, this is by no
Yeah.
means clean. Or
No, yeah, not by all, but like, I'm just going to do open E and just range that clean. Or that gain.
So is this kind of supposed to emulate like as distorted as an AC30 can get?
Well, with being pushed by a treble booster, yeah. But what's your impression so far of these Prismas?
I really like them. Very playable. Like everything seems like natural, nothing to get used to.
Yeah.
Love the trem.
Yeah, and that's one thing I have to comment on. That as a big offset guy, I've grown a big love for the offset tremolos that you find on Jaguars, Jazzmasters, some of the old Mustangs. And this company right here, Mastery, who have did some Prisma branded ones for these, are just the best, absolutely the best.
Yeah, great components, beautiful work, obviously.
Yeah.
I really dig them.
And one thing I'm going to go to the second reverb, but I was having fun with the Duke and the Toledo here with the trem, because it's so responsive and touch sensitive that you can kind of get like a sort of warped vinyl sort of sound when you work it, kind of do the Kevin Shields thing. I'll keep knocking my mic around.
Speaking of vinyl, that was a record scratch.
Yeah, right. That was a perfect sound. And also, I keep whacking it into it just because of the way I play. I draw things in, but...
Nice.
Wow, I was doing terribly at that.
No way, that sounded great. That made me very sad, but wanted me to keep hearing more.
Let me try that again, actually.
That's great.
So very touch sensitive, very dynamic. It's I am a kind of the same with pedals. Like I'd rather have a bunch of knobs than just one or two sets of controls, kind of like on say the H9s. I like to tweak and change things on the fly. I'm the same way with if I'm going to have a trem on a guitar, I want it to be touch sensitive and stable.
You want it to be usable.
Exactly. Yeah. Like I love my Strat, but I don't use a trem on it very much because I haven't seen one that.
Same with me.
Yeah.
It's just not that functional for me.
But if I was able to slap one of these onto a Strat without doing major carving to a guitar I already love, I would definitely do it. But
let's give this guy a try.
absolutely, yeah. You want to plug in on that one?
Sure. You want to mute me?
Yeah, that's right. Are you? You are.
I think I'm.
You're one. There we go.
Nope.
Nope. All right.
There we go.
There we are.
This one's a little sportier.
Yeah. That's been a popular one on the Sharpen the Axe Instagram. Oh, or no, did I put it? I forgot if I put it up there even now. But this is a different sort of bite. I mean, the P90 is like on the last one, but oh yeah, sorry. Nice, yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah, it is again that snappy, great sound. Let's hear it with a little bit of drive.
So this always makes me think of like a 80s stadium kind of Van Halen-y sound. These two pedals in combination really do that.
They do have a nice stadium sound together.
You could do a lot of like cheesy stuff that's actually terrible but sounds impressive.
Yeah. Nice, yeah. Yeah, it definitely kind of invites itself to that sort of like...
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, preach it. Preach it. Yeah, that's classic sound right there.
Well, given it's supposed to be Brian May in a box and then this really epic for a spring reverb sound out of the Magnifico, so I mean it totally makes sense. Let's hear a little more of that. I interrupted there. Be careful. Lemmy might come back from the dead and whack you with a bottle of Jack for screwing that up.
What are you doing, wanker?
Yeah.
It
Now-
really starts singing when you.
Huh?
It really starts singing when you just kind of like hold a note.
Yeah, these have incredible sustain.
Which you're gonna need if you're gonna do any of that Brian May stuff. And
Yeah.
we're both completely unprepared to do any Brian May stuff.
I never learned any Queen songs as a kid. As much as I love them, I never sat down to try to learn any Brian May's guitar riffs.
It's almost not worth it because you have to learn like 4 different harmony parts and record them on top of each other.
Yeah,
Otherwise, you'll
have
never
it-
get close.
Have it layered or have a intelligent harmonizer on you.
Yeah.
But I mean, with the stuff that we've been playing, you know, kind of blindly and kind of mixedly, going between say some punk, some shredder stuff, some we were doing more. I was doing more jazzy and finger pick
stuff.
Ted Nugenty. And I was doing a little bit more finger-picked and jazzy stuff before we started filming here, but it says something when an instrument makes you want to try every style through it, and you find yourself enjoying it every time you switch it up, that you want to just keep going with that tangent. There is a truth to instruments that make you want to be a better player, or something that's sort of clear and articulate, that it makes you find your mistakes or sloppiness in your playing and correct them.
It's kind of like a double-edged thing where, on one hand, it seems to like get your player up to a higher level that you're normally capable of, but at the same time, you have to, like you said,
Yeah.
it'll highlight the mistakes and the sloppiness, and you have to build it. And yeah, it's magic when you find one of those.
And so far with these 3 that I've tried, and I tried a couple other of these at NAMM that we didn't get here, but I mean I aim and look for that articulate and clear instruments, and these are very, very much in that category. Now, do you think you'd ever try using something like this for some of the funky stuff you do?
Sure.
Yeah? Here, I'll turn the reverb off for that. Nice, yeah. It's
Yeah,
again,
for
I
sure.
mean, given it's maple on all maple neck, and as I said, a mahogany back or no, alder back on that, but most of the skateboard top I think is maple. That snappy, bright response, and that's on his neck pickup.
Oh, I always got to do funk on a neck pickup. Let's see on a bridge. Maybe like with a band, if I need to cut through, but normally I like doing that funky, greasy stuff on the neck. This sounds great doing funk. For sure.
Nice, yeah,
It works for me.
Let's try something a little different on there. Oof. I just, the like two jazz cats we have that are listening just heard that one bad note and went, screw this, and just left.
You forgot to turn your treble down.
Oh, actually, you're right. Again, I love everything so bright, I forget that you're supposed to darken it.
There's rules to this jazz game.
Whoever called me a jazz cat. But that's one thing I also noticed, too, is how much range we do have on the tone circuits of these.
And that's the other thing. When you cut the treble, it's still musical and playable all the way down. It doesn't just get mushy and muddy.
It doesn't get muddy at all, yeah.
Like it actually sounds jazzy. A lot of guitars, you turn down the treble and it just gets nothing. Like,
and even some with the volume, you lose a little bit of treble on the volume, but now there's treble bleed circuits, which are luckily gaining popularity. But there's that music again. I guess we're about to go to commercial break. I'll be back the next half with Nick of Prisma Guitars. I'm Eric Lucero.
I'm Paul Berzetsky.
And thank you for joining us on Sharpen the Axe on EnterTalk Radio, powered by Pitbull Audio. We'll be back in a couple minutes.
EnterTalk Radio, you're in to all things music.
Welcome to Sharpen the Axe. Explore the bleeding edge of guitar and bass gear. Discover a sound uniquely your own and cut through the noise. With your hosts, Eric Lucero and Paul Berzetsky.
All right, welcome back to the second half of Sharpen the Axe on EnterTalk Radio, powered by Pitbull Audio. I'm Eric Lucero.
And I'm Paul Berzetsky.
And we'd like to welcome our guest, Nick of Prisma Guitars. You there, Nick?
Yeah, I'm here, man. How are you?
Great. How are you?
Good.
Thank you very much for joining us. Now, we've been checking out your incredible instruments in the first half of the show. These things are just awesome. Loving them. Now, could you give us a little bit of history about you as a luthier and Prisma Guitars?
So, I basically stumbled into this. I was going to school, and while I was going to school, I was really big into skating and playing guitar, and I ended up hurting myself skating to a point where I couldn't walk for like 6 months' time, and I was going to physical therapy and stuff like that.
Wow.
And in all that time, I kind of picked up woodworking and stuff like that. But it wasn't, the guitar thing came a little bit later after I kind of got my feet in the ground with woodworking. But I was, making things just for no reason. I was making spoons, chairs, like I was buying tools just to make things like with the tools, to learn about the tools, if that makes sense. And then eventually I came to this conclusion that like the ultimate thing would be to build a guitar for myself. Like how cool would that be? I could play it. I'd feel good about it if it was good or bad or anything, I just wanted to go for it. Plus I was like 18 years old, so, who really cares like about time at that point, So
yeah.
so I went for it. and the first thing I did was go to, I was in San Diego, actually, where you guys are.
Right
and
on.
I went to, I think it's called Frost Hardwood there. I don't know if it's still there, but it was in La Jolla, and I wanted to make a guitar out of walnut super badly. And,
Nice.
you know, when I went there and, like, looked into how much the board would cost, because you have to buy the whole, like, 10 board feet or whatever, I was like, man, this is going to be expensive. I haven't even bought any of the parts yet or anything like that. And when I looked into everything, I realized this was going to be a much more costly project than I thought, and that if I was really going to go through with it, that it should be something much more unique than just some walnut guitar. So that's when I went back to the drawing board and was kind of stumped until I saw a pile of skateboards behind the shed that I was working in. That was like my skateboards, my brother's skateboards, stuff we accumulated over, 3 or 4 years' time. And just kind of like, it hit me, like that's what I needed to do. And again, like self-taught luthier, I went to like YouTube, I read books, I went to like guitar shops and like fished for questions like that I didn't know and like things like that.
Yeah.
And I was even, as things progressed, I was even like working for guys like just to learn steps, like for free. So eventually, I did eventually make a Telecaster out of skateboards, like when I was 18 years old. Like I'm 25 now, so I think Prisma's only been a thing for the last, like, since 2015, so like 2 years now. Yeah, so I built that like in 2009, 10, something like that. So that was like my preliminary proof of concept, I guess. And then through the rest of the time, I spent prototyping stuff, but I was also going to college. So it took a really long time. And plus I moved cities. I moved to San Francisco to go to college. So woodworking and guitar making was kind of like second priority, while school was first priority. And eventually I was like, okay, I think I got this down at this point. Like I built enough, I know enough about parts, and like I know enough about business now. Like I studied in school business marketing and industrial design, so the crossover was like happening every project I was assigned.
Yeah.
So I basically used every opportunity that I could in school to apply Prisma, like the Prisma, Facebook page was a business assignment that I had. It's like, I want you guys to go home and make a fake business and then make a Facebook page for that and then try and market it to the world in social media. And like, then you can make an Instagram and all that stuff. I was like, why would I do that about a fake business if I'm here trying to start a real one? So I just like went and I started one, and that was a group project. So I actually had like 6 other students working with me.
Oh, wow. Are any of them still part of the team?
No, they're not. I mean, they didn't even.
Watch out, they're going to come at you in 10 years asking for a piece of the company.
I mean, I'm grateful. The incentive was there for them. They wanted an A. So it was like, if they wanted an A, they had to do it. And like, in the end of the day, our thing worked the best because people were thinking it was interesting, like they actually were able to get it in, like reposted by like blogs and magazines, or like, the rest of the class was like doing some other stuff that like, was just floating around school. But we wwere getting like recognition, so that was the thing. Like, I swear the logo was like part of one of my graphic classes, and like I designed the, like I had like I did like website stuff in school, and like that's like where I kind of got more into that. Literally everything from photography, logo design, guitar making, woodworking, business stuff. It was all crossovered into my education, and I was able to apply it.
Well,
from the self-taught part of actually being a luthier and carving a guitar to taking advantage of your education in the moment at college to make this happen. I mean, that's pretty remarkable, Nick. That's amazing. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, thanks, man. I mean, it's crazy what you can do if you're actually like motivated, like about something. Like, well, I mean, that sounds like, kind of dumb, I guess. But like when you think about like a lot of the kids in school are just there and they want to get through it or whatever.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Because you had something immediate you could apply all this stuff to, that gives you a lot more motivation than just, you're learning math or accounting or whatever, and you don't really know why it matters or why it's important to you. But if you could see it immediately, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I was able to just like, they'd give a lesson and I'd go home and like, use it immediately. Like it was great. I didn't mind it at all.
I mean, look how far you've come. I mean, I noticed Prisma first, actually probably a couple years ago, just by the articles and news that came out about a company that was recycling skateboards for guitars. And I mean, it's such a great ecological move. It's recycling. It's these great hand-carved instruments. And it's been awesome seeing you guys grow, and we're very proud to have you at Pitbull Audio.
Yeah, thanks, man. I'm stoked to be in my hometown, being represented by you guys, and it's just cool to have like something there and like more recognition for like everyone.
Yeah, for sure. Glad to rep San Diego. Anyone from San Diego.
When you first started, when you saw those skateboards behind your garage or whatever, how did that work out, or was it a bunch of disastrous projects first? Did you kind of start using them as tops right away, or did you kind of try to glue a bunch of them together?
No, know what? The ones you guys have in stock at Pitbull Audio are just tops, but we do make entire bodies out of the boards, and we do make entire necks out of the boards as well. It's just like a preference, man. Like it's just aesthetic. It changes the sound a little bit. So, the boards are a little more dense, like they're more sustained, things like that. But like, I personally, in my opinion, I love the top look because I think the mahogany or alder or whatever is on, I use for the backwood, ultimately in the end, kind of neutralizes like the crazy, colorful top that is produced by the skateboards, So you have like, I think all the metal, like all of the fingerboard, the back, when you do just the top, it's like that tones it down, that makes it more, feel like more like traditional, like a guitar, something you're used to versus like and it's all to each his own. I think there are definitely guys that want all of it. They want the whole skateboard neck, they want the skateboard body, they want it, the inlays to be skateboards, they want knobs to be skateboards, pickups to be skateboards. I've had guys.
You just described the exact way I want to build one.
Hey, man, if you want to do it, I mean, I'm ready to go right now.
Awesome. Yeah, in a bit when I've saved some money or sold some other gear for sure. And actually, this opens up a couple questions I wanted to get you to answer for those who are kind of looking at this as such an odd idea, and especially those heads who are deep into the qualities of wood, and they know what a combination of maple on mahogany is going to sound like, or they know what to expect out of ebony on a mahogany ebony fretboard mahogany neck. I mean, how would you describe the sonic characteristics of skateboard tops and also all skateboard bodies and necks?
And what are skateboards primarily made of? I think, Eric, you said maple normally. Is that true?
I know a lot are made out of maple. I don't know about all of them.
There are some made out of bamboo, and there's some made out of, like, they have carbon fiber in them. I don't usually use those. If I find them, I, weed them out. Mm-hmm. I suppose if I had enough bamboo boards, I mean, I come across them rarely. If I had enough bamboo boards, I wouldn't be opposed to just going for it, and seeing what happens. But as far as 99% of skateboard stock in the world, it's made out of hard rock maple. And to me, when I first started doing this, I was like, okay. When I was doing my research, I was like, this is not even so foreign, This is been used before. Like most guitar necks are made out of this already. There's guitar tops made out of this already. The combination of maple and mahogany, like you said, should sound like, very close to what this is. It's not a foreign concept in the end of like, the tonal qualities of the wood. And even when you think about our neck laminations, the way we do it, it's like quarter sawn maple lambs, if you think about it. But if you look at like Martin guitars, they've been doing laminated necks like that for a long time. And when you think about the actual construction of it, with the fingerboard glued on to the quarter sawn lumber, you got to think like, man, that thing's stiff. It's not moving at all, Well,
it's like on, say we get Mayonis guitars in, and they're like 11-piece necks, 3 to 2 to, actually more like 2 to 5 different kinds of wood, but they are that solid construction of just, so I imagine you have even more laminates on one of your all skateboard necks, so that would be an insanely, incredibly, straight and strong neck.
Yeah. I know. I mean, and people might think, like, people see it and they think it's crazy or it might sound weird or something like that. But when you listen to it, you can hear there are no sacrifices to the quality of build and components that we're using. And in the end, I think, we've done a good job. I'm proud of the way they sound. And, I think, I don't know what else I would change really.
And the ones that we have, were already built, but you are very much a custom shop sort of operation, right? So what kind of options can our customers that would be interested in getting their own built go for?
Pretty much anything. For a while I was doing like any shape anyone wanted when I was like first getting going. I realized very quickly that was like the biggest mistake I've ever made. Because I had to make like a new template every time and everyone had their own dream. But like I narrowed it down to I don't even know right now because I've like cut some shapes from our list. But I think I had 7 at one point, and now it's down to 5. But if you like one of those other 2 we cut, like, you can special request it from me.
Right on.
But it's just that that made things much easier when I had just like a set list of shapes. So you can pick from the shapes that we have. You can pick between, if you want a skateboard top, you just want that, tie-dye look on the top, or if you want the whole thing all the way through to be made out of boards. You can pick if you want it to be a hollow body or not, or semi-hollow body, sorry. You can pick, obviously, what pickups you want. My pickup guy is Tim McNally.
Yeah. McNally pickups are amazing, and you actually got Prisma-style McNallys that have the skateboard tops on them as well, correct?
Yeah, exactly. I felt like, there was no reason to, like, obviously, like, with the material, there's so many options, like, of ways to use it. It's not limiting to guitars. It's not limiting to the bodies. You could do anything, really. So, me and Tim kind of brewed up the idea of making the pickup, and obviously, like, he's, like, an expert in that sense. So I was like, okay, so what is the dimensions that I need to cut this material out for you so that we can make this happen, and then ultimately I was like, we should sell these separately also to people who just have, guitars they want to soup up. They don't need to buy the full guitar from me. They can just soup up the one they got, with these, like, still feel the brand, still feel like the attachment to the board's histories and stories, So, yeah, Tim's really good about, if you went to the custom shop, Tim's really good about pretty much like accommodating any sounds or ideas people have. So you could really go wild with me on that, and we'll make it happen. And then between bridges, we have Schroeder wraparound bridge, We have Tone Pro wraparound bridge.
Is
We got
that
all the-
Schroeder wraparound bridge what's on our syndicate here?
No, that's just the Tone Pro.
Okay,
wraparound.
that is just a Tone Pro, yeah.
Yeah, but you can request the Schroeder one. It's really good, actually. It's really light. He's kind of fixed like all the problems with, like other types of bridges like that. He's like really got it dialed in. But then we have all the mastery stuff as well. So you can go to town on whatever you want with that. Yeah, and then neck profile stuff. Tell me what you want. We have pretty much every option. You can choose between the skate neck, like mahogany neck, rosewood neck, whatever.
Now, about the neck profile, it's 25.5 inch scale, 12 inch radius, and that C shape. When we finally got these in, and the ones I tried at this past winter NAMM, I've grown. I grew up with fender necks, but tried everything else in between. And I really love that these are not quite Gibson thick, but a little fatter of a C shape than on fenders. It's really comfortable. So, where did you develop this particular neck shape from?
We actually have just like a bunch of profiles. I mean, like, I don't even remember which one you have over there, but the fatter one, like, they can get like kind of fat, like a baseball bat, sort of thing. And then we do have some that are like more like Les Paul shaped, like thinner, C thing. And then we do like V shape. I kind of just, it just depends, I just feel it, and I'm not like personally, like, there's not one particular shape that I feel, like I have 3 guitars here, and they all have different neck profiles. There's not one that I use every time, so I just kind of like experiment.
Right on. And you guys offer maple fretboards, rosewood, but we had via email you had told me about some new options for fretboards that'll be coming out soon. You want to reveal here, or not quite yet?
There's no, it's not new. It's just that it's not like really advertised on the site. But I could do ebony. We have this new stock of Coney Island boardwalk. It's Brazilian walnut, and it comes like darker light, but it looks really similar to rosewood, and it's you can send it internationally, like no problem with the site's regulation thing that they just came out with. It's beautiful, and it has that story of it being the actual Coney Island boardwalk. That's insane,
Right? Yeah, that's pretty crazy. I mean, one of my coworkers over at Pitbull Audio is New Yorker, and he was already wanting to do a bass with that. He's Brazilian and from New York, so that Brazilian walnut from Coney Island just made him excited.
Now, is that an issue with a lot of these woods, with the skateboards, that I'm sure a lot of them are trashed, that the way the wood's been weathered and, probably gotten, wet and dried and expanded and contracted? Do you have to like sift through a bunch to find ones that are in good shape, or just anything goes?
I have a really particular way of lambing up, like for tops, of like choosing like the quality boards, and I've come to realize like what skateboard companies actually use, like the top-notch maple. So I'm able to kind of like shift through what I have. And man, I have like 3,000 skateboards downstairs, but when I get them, I really like, I have 2 piles basically. The like whatever pile, and then like our like I have like kind of our black diamond stock board. Like, it's like that stuff is like the crazy things that I've seen where maybe the whole entire board is like lambed color ply. Like, I don't know, like it's typically, there's some skateboards that have 0 colors in them whatsoever.
Right.
Or let me talk about the skateboard construction really fast. It's 7 ties of hard rock maple glued together, and the way the colors are kind of infused in there is So they dye each ply obviously before, but there's no particular reason they are dyed. I think that back in like the way skateboards were manufactured, like, you know, back in the day, it was the way for factory workers to tell the different grain patterns apart. And like, basically, okay, I'm going to grab a natural ply, and then I'm going to grab a green ply, and then I'm going to grab a natural ply, and then I'm going to grab a green ply, instead of getting confused between two natural plies. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, so when they glue it up, everything is consistent quality-wise, and they didn't, like, mess up anything in, like, lamming two of the same direction grains together. So nowadays, that's not a thing. They just pick, like, companies just decide they want to have a color ply. So there's some companies that have color plies all 7 layers. That is like a super rare thing, and I keep those like close at hand to making like something very, very special, you know? So if you see something that's like 100% one color, that's really rare, actually. Like, and no one will know this stuff unless they're listening to this, or like I talk about it on the internet or something, because I know, because I have 3,000 skateboards downstairs, like what's rare and what's not. There's certain color combinations that you rarely see, and some that you hope to see all the time. Like blue and orange, I always feel like look amazing together.
Yeah, for sure.
And it kind of happens a lot within like certain board companies. So you look out for that company's board so you can collect as many blue and orange ones as possible. You know, but it doesn't mean I always have it in stock, but I try to find as many as I can. So
for the customers that would want to get something custom built, I mean, like say, I mean, I imagine the questions people that would ask that, you know, can you request particular colors? Can you guys stain over them in a certain way? Is there a stain or finish process for the all skateboard bodies that's different that they can choose?
So you can do tints over the boards. So let's say you want to make a guitar to skateboards, but you're not a fan of like, you know, some colors that come up a lot are like greens and, you know, reds and things like that. You're like, you know, I want the whole thing to be grayed out, you know? We can gray tint the whole thing. You know, we can do whatever you want, tint-wise, and it will like neutralize all the colors to be the same hue. So, but they'll still be there slightly, but it doesn't mean that they're going to be so like vibrantly on their own, like clashing, you know? So it's kind of like playing like a like a weird design game. Even when I come up with the patterns, you know, I'm not really in control of what happens. I know when I land them up, like what for the most part is going to happen, but I don't know if like in the end if it will remain there or will go away or whatever. So I'll have like maybe like, you know, I have to play mismatch, like tops, like try and get colors that I think look good together to be on the same body. It's kind of like a fun game. It actually like doesn't really get old because I don't have a way of like reproducing stuff. Another thing, that's the other thing is like if you see one of my guitars that you really like, I mean, I encourage you to like just jump on it, because you can't call me and say I want that again, because I can make the same guitar, but I can't make the same pattern. So, and I can try my hardest, but it's difficult. But so then, sorry, now I'm going all over the place. Another thing that's kind of interesting about not making the same pattern is like this is like a flat sawn pattern, all the guitars you have in front of you right now. So it's like basically I've cut them flat sawn. But if I flip them and cut them quarter sawn, like how I construct the guitar neck, the skateboard guitar neck, now we can reproduce this pattern like over and over again. Yeah, it's going to be slightly different, but so is any other like figured top or something like that, you know?
So each one is going to wind up very unique, never to reproduce again, just because of the nature of what you're working with.
Exactly. Like, and also because it's kind of like I get what I can find sort of thing, you know? And that being said, San Francisco's a great place for that. So is San Diego, for that matter. of like finding skateboards.
Sadly, we're out of time, Nick.
Yes, I'm sorry, Nick, but also check out the Vista series as well on Prisma Guitars' website. And thank you very much for being our guest, Nick. Hopefully we'll have you back again soon. If you're in town, let us know.
We've been Sharpen the Axe on EnterTalk Radio, powered by Google Audio. Thanks, guys. See you next time.